what happens is, generally what we find, people elect leaders. And leaders are determined sometimes by their charisma, their intelligence, by some belief system. And what we generally want in a leader is someone who has our vested interests at heart. Someone that represents our agenda. So for example, if you see yourself as wanting to be a wealthy person in terms of finances, you will elect someone that says, hey, I will make everyone in the country wealthy. Which can be quite challenging, but sometimes we get sold on the concept. Okay? And what happens is, we all at some level will go for someone with vested interests or holds our agenda. Or, now there's various books written about it, may have views, political views, that represent what we feel or think. If you feel you come from a liberal perspective, you will want someone who's liberal. If you feel you want conservatism, you'll go for a conservative view. And how that will happen, it doesn't mean you have to be liberal or conservative. If you endeavor, and this is very fascinating for us as human beings, we can be very outward looking and saying, I want to embrace the world, and that will be more in keeping with a liberal view, one will argue. But if you feel I need structure, I need anchor, you will go for a more traditional conservative view. And at different times in your life, there'll be different needs. If you have children, and you have a few of them, and you're worried about where they will go to school, and you're worried about safety and security, and you want a bit of stability, who are you more likely to go for? Conservative. If you are comfortable, secure, safe, have lots at your disposal, and want to have a passport that allows you to travel and embrace the entire world, you possibly may go for, I'm not saying in every case, a more liberal view, right? Let's embrace the whole world. So it's fascinating, and that can be driven by your fears, one way or the other. If you are fearful of the outside, you may go for someone who's a bit more structured and traditional and want to develop the country's military. Or if you coming from a space of just want to embrace and engage and love the whole world, you may say someone who has a similar view. If you are concerned about environmental issues, you may go in another direction as well. And some of them can be conservative in this day and age in terms of environment, and some can be very liberal as well. So there's all these challenges. But what you will find as human beings is all of us at some point in our lives play. What do I mean by that? We all go out and play in this human landscape. And in our play, they did this very interesting experiment. Let me share this with you, all right, to demonstrate play. They took this huge field, and it was a couple of football fields huge, right? Maybe 10, 20 football fields huge. And they took a bunch of kids, and they told the kids to play out there. Go wild. Here's this entire ground. How do you, in terms of space, how do you think the kids played? They used the 10 football fields? What did they do? The kids congregated, as you're saying, in a small space. And they looked at this space, and then they did another experiment with the same kids. They then provided what you might call walls, boundaries, structure to that space. Except that the space that they walled off and bounded was bigger than the space that the kids were originally playing in. What do you think the kids did? Did they still stay in that small space? No. Walls, boundaries, structure made them play in a bigger space. The kids, the children, are no different to you and I. When we want structure, it allows us in many ways. Structure allows us to be more free. When we want freedom, it's vice versa. When we want to play out there, we actually sometimes congregate. We don't even recognize the space that we have at our disposal. Now, when we go and play, as adults, as children even, what is the biggest danger of play, of living life free, according to whatever you want to do. You go wild, as we call it. What was the danger? And some of us are in here because of that. What happened? Consequences. What kind of consequences? Painful, dangerous consequences. And this is one of the biggest lessons life. You don't need anyone to teach you this. Life teaches you that. As much as you may have got away with your liberty, your freedom, in terms of doing whatever you wanted to do in life, it gets you into trouble. I remember something as a young person, I experimented with trying not to sleep. Because why, at a theoretical, philosophical level, why obey the barriers of night and day? Let's make all of our time our play. And I literally wrote it down and wanted to live by that statement. I stayed up all day and I stayed up all night. I was buggered in the morning. And as a doctor, I've done that quite a few times in terms of work. But it's fascinating. As much as you think you have the mindset that you will achieve, you are finished. The body wanted to sleep and the guys are like, I told you so. Okay? Why? Because at some level, the physical, the biological clock kicked in, your mental mind set is like, what's going on? And emotionally, you just need some sleep.